All right, we're going to be looking at our Unit 4 review. Number 1, during migration, a butterfly can travel 30 miles in 1 hour. Which graph best represents y, the number of miles a butterfly can travel in x hours? So the first thing I did here was I plotted at 1 hour, 30 miles. So 1 hour, 30 miles, not on my graph. 1 hour, 30 miles, that it is on my graph. 1 hour, so 1 hour, 30 miles is way up here, not on my graph. And then again, we've got 1 hour, 30 miles would be way up here. I've given it a little bit of, I've used the marker to indicate that we've got some space in here. And again, not on the graph. So the correct answer was B, and I didn't need to do anything more than to determine and plot those points for 1 hour is 30 miles. Number 2, Caroline's cell phone plan costs $32 per month. Which table shows the sum of the amounts that Caroline will pay for her cell phone plan over the next 4 months? So it's $30 for the first month, and then we're just going to add $32. Second month, she's paid $64. Third month, she's paid $96. Fourth month, she's paid $128. We're just adding what she's going to pay over those months. So here, for 1 month, it's $32, so that's not correct. 1 month, $32, not correct. 1 month, $32 is correct. 2 months, second month, she should have paid $64. That's not correct. Here, I've got 1 month at 32, 2 at 64, 3 at 96, and after 4 months, she would have paid $128. That is the correct one. J was the correct answer. Number 3, a dolphin travels through the water at a speed of 25 kilometers per hour. Which representation shows the distance a dolphin can travel at this rate? So here's what the equation would look like. And then I also just made a table. 1 hour is 25 kilometers, 2 hours would then be 50. So each hour, we're just going up another 25 kilometers. And then I went through and checked out and seen which ones would be correct. So 0, yep, after 0 hours, we've gone 0 kilometers. The dolphin after 2 hours, 50, 250. 4 hours, 100, 4 hours, 100. 6, 150, 6, 150. So this table does match up, and if I would go to 8, I would get the 200. B, our equation here is showing me 1 mile or 1 kilometer per hour, and then adding 25 at the end. So this is not correct. The equation should look like this. Here is my table, or a graph. And this graph right here, it's backwards. We've got our time, 1 hour would have been right here, and 25 kilometers would have been way off our coordinate plane here. So this, what they've done here is if this would have been, kilometers would have been down here and time would have been up here, this would have worked, but it's not. So this one is not correct. And then in 5 hours, a dolphin can travel a distance of 135 kilometers. Well, 5 hours, we've done this on the table here, it's 125 kilometers, so this is not correct. So your correct answer was the table A. Number 4, Frank and his family drove 6 hours every day during a road trip. Which graph best represents y, the total number of hours driven in x days? So again, I've made a table, 1 day, 6 hours. So after 2 days, they're going to have driven 12, 3 days, 18 hours. And then I have all these graphs, and I just plotted. I started with 1 and 6, so 1 day is 6 hours. That's not on my graph. Right here, 1 day, 6 hours, 2 days, 12, 3 days, 18. All right, so do we see how that works? All right, this one that's saying after every day, 1 day there's 6 hours, after 2 days still only driven for 6 hours, so that one's not correct. Here they're going down in hours, and it doesn't even line up with our 1 hour or 1 day, 6 hours. So our correct graph for this scenario is G. Number 5, Pamela rode her bike at a constant rate of 1/10 of a kilometer per minute. Which table represents y, the number of kilometers Pamela rode her bike in x minutes? So what I've done here is this is my equation here, but then I also just determined, because all of these start with 5 minutes, I wanted to see in 5 minutes how many kilometers could she have ridden. And so I just multiplied 1/10 times 5, and that's 5/10. So I was looking for a table that had 5/10 of a kilometer in 5 minutes. And I did do these F and G backwards from H and J, but it's still gonna give us what we need. 5 minutes, 1/10 is wrong. 5 minutes, 1/10, still wrong. And that's 1/10 the whole way through. 5 minutes, 5 and 1/10, that's wrong. 5 minutes, 5/10. That one is correct. G was your correct table for that scenario. 6, a recipe says to use 3 cups of flour to make 48 cookies. What is the constant of proportionality that relates to the number of cookies made, Y, to the number of cups of flour used, X? So remember to find the constant of proportionality, it's Y over X. So we've got 48 over 3, and 48 divided by 3, I've done that right here, is 16. So K, or our constant of proportionality, is 16, and that's D. Number 7, the cost of 3 pounds of grapes is $6.57. What is the constant of proportionality that relates the cost in dollars Y to the number of pounds of grapes, X? Again, K equals Y over X. 6.57 divided by 3, done that right here. We have $2.19 or $2.19 per pound. Number 8, at a school carnival, tickets can be purchased to participate in different activities. The table shows the total cost for different numbers of tickets. All right, what is the constant proportionality that relates Y, the total cost in dollars, to X, the number of tickets purchased? So again, I just had to do Y over X, so 2 over 8, and then I simplified it, and I didn't need to divide because I know that 1/4 is the same as 0.25 or 25 hundredths. So I just need to find that over here on my answers, and it's right here. B is the correct answer. So whenever we're looking for the constant proportionality, it's Y over X. 9. The table below shows the relationship between H, the number of hours Katie worked, and W, the amount of wages she earned. Which equation represents the relationship between H, the number of hours Katie worked, and W, the total wages she earned in the table? So I've set it up right here, and what I did was I had to find, and when it gives me my 1, that's telling me 7.25 per, that's giving me my slope or my rate of change, constant proportionality, all of those are the same thing. So I have W equals 7.25 H. Find the correct one, and that's H. W equals 7.25 H. Number 10, Franklin's grandmother opened a savings account with $275 to help him save money for college. Franklin will deposit $55 each month. His grandmother will deposit $40 each month. If Franklin makes no additional deposits or withdrawals, which equation can be used to find the amount of money Franklin's savings account after a few months? All right, so his grandmother's giving him a one-time deposit of $275. So this is going to be my B. And then each month he's putting in 55 and his grandmother's putting in 40. So this is his rate of change, right? This is what's going up each and every month. Sometimes they will have put this together, and it would be written 95p plus 275. So D and this are the same, but we also have to realize they may not add those for us and put them into there. So we need to be able to recognize that these are the same equation. So we have our 2 deposits every month, and then we have our one-time initial deposit. So D is the correct answer there. Number 11, the total cost for running a car T driven M miles is modeled by the equation T equals 5/100 M plus 60. Which table best represents this relationship? So what I did here was I took and looked at my tables, and there's a lot of different options for our M. So I started here at 50. and that's in 2 tables. And so when M is 50, I found T. So I just multiplied 500 times 50, and I got 2.50. And then I added 60 to that, and that's 6250. So at 50 miles, 6250 is the number I'm looking for, and that's 85. That's not right. I can't tell you on these other ones here, but I can tell you on this one here. That one does have 6250. So I checked that that works. Then I wanted to look at a number that was in both G and J, and 200 is in both G and J. So I substitute 200 in for my M, and I found that 500 times 200, I did that right here, is 10. So 10 plus 60 is 70. So 200 miles is going to cost $70, so that one's not correct. And then down here, 200 miles is only going to cost $70, not 210. So J is not right. So H is the correct. And if I look at this, I can see that it's going up or it's going down an appropriate number. And another way to look at this is $60 is my fee, and then I'm only getting charged 50 cents for 10 miles, which is, it does work for that 500. So for number 11, you should have H. Number 12, a linear relationship is shown on the graph. So here's my graph, and linear means y equals mx plus b. Which equation best represents the relationship between x and y? So all I need to do is I need to identify my slope and my y-intercept. So my y-intercept is where my graph intersects or crosses the y-axis, which is right here at 1. So b is 1. Then to find my slope, I need to use rise over run. And I need you to be really careful here. We've got to notice these units. So my y-axis is going up by 1. But my x-axis is going up by half. There's half, 1. 1 half, 2. So I wanted to go to a 1 on my x, and you would get the same answer either way. But if I go down and make this triangle where it's 1, I would have -1, -2. So it's -2 is going dropping or falling 2, and then running 1. So -2 over 1, which is right here. If you would have made a smaller triangle, you would have had down 1, so -1 and over 0.5. And when you divide that, you're going to find that you get still that -2. So then you just need to substitute in your -2 and your 1 into your slope-intercept form, and you would get y equals -2x plus 1, y equals -2x plus 1, right there, D. And it's really good. All right, let's go to number 13. The table shows a relationship between y, the total number of books Adam has read, and x, the number of weeks he has been reading. Which graph best represents the relationship between x and y shown in the table? So the first thing I need to do is look at my, I look to see what my change in y over change in x is for my slope, and I found that was 2. But then I also wanted to take notice to see for the number of weeks, how many books had he already read. So at 0 weeks, he had read 16 books already. And so I'm looking for something where I have 0 and 16, and then I'm also looking for these values here to line up. So here I don't have a 0 with a 16, that's way up here. And then also if I went to 2 and 20, so there's 5, 2 is right about here, and that would be way up here. Again, not on my graph. 2 and up 20 here, it's close to my graph, but it's not on it. And then over 2 up 20 is way over here. And then here I have 2 and 20. And the next set of values is 5 and 26. So we're going to go over 5 up 26. So every value on my table is on my graph. So G is the correct graph. Number 14, a linear relationship is shown in the graph. Which equation best represents the relationship between x and y? And again, we need to watch our units for our coordinate plane. So our y-axis is going up by 1/2, right? And then our x-axis is going up by 2s. So this is 2 units right here. 2 units, 2 units. So it's 2, 4, 6. So when I do my rise over run, I'm going to go up. I want a whole value here. I want up 1 and then over 2, 4. So rise over run is 1/4. Again, if I would have done this as a smaller triangle, and let me use a different color. If I went up 1/2 and over 2.5 divided by 2, when you divide that, you're still going to get 1/4. 1/2 of 2. All right, 1/2 divided by 2. So then I have my y-intercept. My b is 2. It intersects the y-axis right there at 2. Substitute my values. Y equals 1/4 for my slope, x plus 2 of my y-intercept, and that's A. Number 15, Magda signed up for a credit card that gave her $100 in initial cashback rewards. She can earn an additional $12 in cashback rewards for each month the card is active. Which table represents the total amount of cashback rewards Magda will earn R if the card remains active for M months? So again, I looked at my tables and they all go up 1, 3, 4, and 10. So I first substituted 1. So 12 times 1 plus 100 is 112. So I'm looking for 1 and 112. That one works. 1 and 112, that one does not work. 1 and 112, that does work. And 1 and 112, that works. So then I went to 3. And so I substituted 3 in. 12 times 3 is 36. Plus 100 is 136. So now I'm looking for 3 and 136. All right, so this is 3 and 124. Oh, why? There we go. 3 and 124 doesn't work. 3, that one doesn't work. 3 and 136 does work. And this is 3 and 336 does not work. So H, our correct table is right here. Number 16, a road construction crew has planned a project to repave a highway with new asphalt. 2 miles of the highway had already been paved during a previous project. 5 miles of the highway will be paved each week during this project. Which graph best represents the relationship between Y, the number of miles of highway paved, and X, the number of weeks the crew will work for both projects? So we have an initial 2 miles, that's my y-intercept or my b value, and then there's another 5 miles each week being paved. So this is your rate of change or your slope, 5x plus 2. So I'm going to see this plus 2 or this 2 miles at my y-intercept. Okay, so that one doesn't work because 2 is down there. This one works because 2 is approximately right there. Here, 2 is down here. And so those 2 that we already have said don't work, A and C, they've used the slope as their y-intercept. And then D, that's about it. 7, this is they added the 5 plus the 2. So D is not correct. B is our correct graph for this scenario. 17, the table shows the relationship between Y, the cost to rent a boat, and X, the amount of time the boat is rented. So I determined that we have a change in Y value of 24, change in X is 2. So I divided to determine what my slope is. So remember, slope is equal to change in Y over change in X. And I just find that out by subtracting. So I'm going up 12 for each hour, $12 for every hour. So to find out how much for 0 hours, I just subtracted 12 from 32 and 1 from X. So 0 hours will cost $20. So let's look here. I have $12 is somewhere in the middle here. $12 is way off my coordinate plane here. I'm sorry, this should be $20. $20. And then here I have 0. $20 is right there. So that's the only one that works, but I'm going to check my 1 and 32 as well. And so I'm going to go for 1 hour, $32. That works. So our correct graph is J. Number 18, a pilot takes a taxi from the airport to a hotel. The taxi driver charges a $2.50 initial charge plus $2.65 per mile. Which equation can be used to find y, the total cost of the trip, if x represents the number of miles of the trip? So initial charge, that's one time, $2.50, that's my b. And then it's $2.65 every mile. And remember, we're using y equals mx plus b. So we're going to substitute the m in, 265x plus my b of 250. So our correct equation is dy equals 2.65x plus 2.50. Number 19, the table shows the distance y a cheetah can travel in feet in x seconds. So the first thing I did again my change in y over change in x to find m. And 470 divided by 5 is 94. And then I also determined what it would be at 0 seconds. And so it's going up by 5. We're going to subtract 5. And for every 5 seconds, the cheetah is going 470 feet. I had to subtract 470. So 0 seconds, 0 feet, which makes sense. So my b equals 0. And when that equals 0, y equals mx plus b. This is a proportional relationship. We do not put the plus 0 there. So we will not need to use that. So we have y equals 94x. J, y equals 94x, is the correct equation for this scenario. Number 20, which table contains only values that satisfy the equation y equals 5/10 x plus 14? So again, I had to substitute some values. 0 is in every single one of my tables, so I started with there. Substitute 0 in there. 1/2 times 0 is 0, plus 14 is 14. That one's not correct. Possibly, and possibly. So I have 3 choices still. Then I went to 5, the next value of my x's. 1/2 times 5 plus 14, so 2.5 plus 14 is 16.5. So now I'm looking for 5 for my x values. I need to see 16.5. No, no, yes, no. So my correct table is C. Number 21, a store sells new video games for $55 each. Used video games sell for $12 each. Jacob is buying 3 new video games and X used video games. Which equation can be used to find y, the total price Jacob must pay in dollars? So he's buying 3 new ones. So for new, that's going to cost him $165. So I know this is going to be something he's charged. We don't know how many used video games he's buying. So that's our unknown, and it's $12 per used video game. So I have y equals 12x plus 165, and that's G. All right, number 22. Which equation best represents the relationship between x and y in the graph? My y-intercept here is at 3, so that's b is 3. And then I need to do rise over run to get my slope, up 3 over 1. So 3 over 1 is 3. So I have y equals 3x plus 3. Last one, number 23. Which equation represents the relationship between the x values and the y values in the table? So when they give me my x of 0, this is giving me my b or my y-intercept right here. So 4 is my b, so b equals 4. So y equals mx plus b. We know this is plus 4. Now I need to find my change in y over change in x. So 16 minus 4 is 12, 2 minus 0 is 2, 12 divided by 2 is 6. So my m is equal to 6. So 6x plus 4. And that's J, y equals 6x plus 4. All right, I want you to come to my meetings if you need any help with anything. If you have questions, make sure you're emailing me as well. And do your very best on this. If you need to go back and review some of your notes, do that. If you need to redo some practice problems, that would be good. And have a great day.